Welcome to Anthromatons. Dragoness is now out for you to download and test. The setup will look like this when you open the file. The bone rig is experimental and I didn't use Rigify on this one. You are free to make your own bone setup with Rigify or Mixamo. For the tail and some other joints I used bendy bones. The control panel is shown in its own pop-up window down here. Click on the blender icon and you see two different windows. We have the control panel in its own tiny window. It looks like this. The constraint chain goes like this from eye object to the in place control object to the control panel. So there's three objects. We have the eye, an object the eye follows, an object on the control panel that drives the second object in the chain. So all these objects have its own constraints to influence movement and rotation. So you can look on the example files. You can download this file and look at this example. Maybe come up with your own constraints that you can link to this control panel. Maybe moving the eyebrows up and down on the character and so on. There's one of these controller is not functional. What I have rigged is the eyes, of course. We have the eye movement and we can open and close the eyes, both bottom eyelid and top eyelid, like that. And we also have the tongue movement. We can move the tongue, we can stretch it, and we can also scale it. Now we can't see this tongue because it's inside of the mouth, but we can use scale, rotate, etc. on it. And we can stretch it a bit. If we want to stretch it further, we have to go in and click on the there's an object that you can click and drag the tongue like that. If you want to stretch it really far, and then you can keep on controlling it with the controller. Yes, as I said, you can rotate it and you can do any movement you can think of. And we have the jaw. The jaw can open and close, of course. It's the third controller in this row. The column row doesn't do anything, so you can use maybe connect the eyebrows or whatever. That's up to you. The last control here is the tail. Changes tail movement. I think it stretches. So I press the button, press G, and you can use this slider to stretch the tail, or you can move it with this controller here. I've been using mesh deformed cages with hooks for the facial expressions. The mesh deform modifier and hooks are also used on other places, like the dress and the body. And it is the small wire crosses and wire balls that you can drag around in object mode. You can also reset them by pressing Alt plus G or Alt plus R or Alt plus scale S. So this is mainly for animation. Maybe you want to move the dress out a bit because the body is clipping the dress, or you want to adjust some muscle tissue or anything you can think of. Okay. Then we have the necklace. And this is just a simple mesh with a path. I think it's a base your circle. And you can edit this. You click on the path and you can go into edit mode and you can move around. You see the chain will move, and it will even break the chain if you move it too far. But this can be used if you want to animate the chain. You go into edit mode, you drag the path. And to animate this, you should use the plugin called Animal and Animate All. I mean, animate everything in Blender, and you can change this to points and what have you. It's all kinds of stuff you can animate. Set keyframes for. And then you press on the insert here, the keyframe insert, where you want it. So maybe she's tilting her head or something, and the necklace gets buried in her chest or something like this, and clipping. Then you want to add a keyframe where you just move it forward like this, and keyframe that. There you have it. Download and test this model. As I said, it's pretty large, around 200 megs. And it's because background is very, very large. So you can remove the background after downloading, and you will save yourself some disk space. Yeah, I think it's because I used displacement, modifier, and subdivision. There's lots of subdivision in this wall, so that seems to take a lot of memory when you apply a subdivision modifier with displacement. I don't think it would be the file would be as large if I kept the modifier untouched. If I didn't apply the modifier, then probably the file would be much smaller. Okay, that's it.